I'm not ready.
Intro! Wow, Dan wasn't ready. He's scared. Hey everybody, welcome back to Newbie Star Trek. It is the Star Trek podcast where we don't know that much about Star Trek, so we're trying to watch it all with Ricardo, who's never watched it. I am Damon Marvin, and I am here with Damon Ricardo and Damon Dan. Hello, everyone.
I was promoted from a Marlin.
Hello.
That's the only part of the hierarchy that I can say confidently, because that's the original line that I said.
Just name any Wayans family member and they'll be in there. Don't worry.
Yeah, but I don't know who's above whom.
The highest you can go is a Keenan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Keenan Ivory. So that's the lay of the land. Anyway, if you're new to the podcast, the whole point is that Ricardo has never seen any of the Star Trek shows. So we're gonna go through all of them with him, and it's gonna be a fun time because I think so far he's been enjoying it, right?
So far, I've been enjoying it. There's some stinkers, but you know.
Yeah, as with any show, especially for this first season, there's some stinkers.
Yeah, like first season of TNG is notorious for being really rough to the point that fans of TNG will actually try to recommend to skip it. So,
which
we're getting through a lot of the dredge right now.
I really don't recommend that though, because there's so much setup for things.
No, like I agree. Yeah, I think it's worth watching through the first season for sure.
Yeah, there's like in this today's episode, it seems like there isn't a payoff, but there is a payoff. There ends up being like a thing.
You mean like later on in the series?
Yeah. I won't say what, but there are things that will pay off because I
actually don't remember what that would be, or maybe I just never got to it. So that's cool.
Well, that'll be fun then. That'll be fun. Yeah. Well, if you've been with us this whole time, thank you. I hope you've been enjoying the podcast so far. If you've been liking it, hey, could you maybe head down over to the Apple Podcasts, give us a little review.
Prove your love.
whatever you think is fine. I mean, we don't blah blah blah. It's weird. Like those metrics help, but I think also what's been helping is just making those promo videos. I think that helps way more.
Honestly, I will take a small second to give major props to you for putting those together every week because they are fun.
They're my favorite part of doing the podcast. Well,
yeah, they do good. Yeah. Like they're good work. They help.
Yeah, it's my favorite technical part of doing the podcast. Like my favorite part is just talking about Star Trek with people, friends. But the actual favorite technical part is I put the whole episode, because these episodes are actually like lightly edited. They're not like hyper edited. They're like, we cut out shit here and there, and we cut out ums and spaces and whatnot. The promos,
you're ruining it.
I do it at the end, and I'm like, oh, this is fun. I get to find the funny part, put it in, make a thing.
The one funny part.
Well, for last week's episode, I actually put two funny parts together. And
true. I did notice that.
One. Yeah. So anyway, this episode was 11001001. Last week, I made the mistake of claiming this episode sucks. I was very wrong. But we'll get into that later. This episode first aired on February 1st in 1988. So Dan, if you had anything to tell us about what might have happened during that time.
Sure. To be honest, not a whole lot happened in terms of history. So I will leave you with two things. First off, I've never clocked this before in our episode, so this will be somewhat interesting, or at least I did, because I finally noticed this. As of this recording, we are 32 years, 10 months, and 29 days out from the air date of this episode.
Oh, wow.
So it's
32 years. That doesn't even feel right, but I guess mathematically.
32 damn years. Almost my entire lifetime can fit in between the airing of the episode and us talking about it. Tripped me out for a second.
God, I haven't even realized this was that old of a series. Wow.
Yeah. It holds up surprisingly well, considering.
Yeah, because I remember watching this series as a kid on like random bouts of cable or just random bouts on television,
and it was already like aged by the time you were. I
guess it was already old then. Yeah,
exactly.
I don't think I ever realized the context of that back then. I just assumed, it's a Star Trek thing.
Yeah, it felt current at the time. You hadn't seen it, new to you. And then the second thing is that 4 days from the air date on February 5th, the World Wrestling Federation would hold the main event, during which Andre the Giant defeated Hulk Hogan for the Intercontinental Championship via an illegitimate pinfall because Hogan's shoulders weren't all the way down on the mat. But then it soon turned out that the referee for that match was replaced by his twin brother, who was hired by $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase as part of a screw job. And when Andre tried to give the title to DiBiase, then President Jack Tunney ruled that the only way to transfer a title is by pin or submission, and that Andre's attempt to give the title away like a little pansy just meant that he vacated the title, meaning that it was null and void, and so the title had to be fought over at the next WrestleMania.
Oh my God.
Wrestling's great. I fucking love wrestling.
I decided you'd get a kick out of that, so I did a bit of research.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, to be fair, just to be straight up, though, I kind of fucking hate Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned a match where he lost. Because Andre the Giant's cool. He's just a really big, nice guy. And Hulk Hogan's kind of a piece of racist shit, so...
this is known.
Well, who's Hulk Hogan? I guess I should say.
Who is anybody? Who is Marvin? Who is Dan? We don't know. Is it really you, or is it a computer simulation? We will never know.
Oh,
well, today I'm marked in our program as Donatello, so I don't know who I am today.
Oh.
Well, that also kind of plays really well into the theme of this episode. We get confused about how realistic some sort of simulation might be. So that's a good cue for Ricardo to step in and please let us know. How did you watch the episode? What did you think of the episode?
I did watch the episode.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. I know. I actually, because I went in thinking this was gonna suck because that's how you sold it.
I know. I fucked up.
I know.
True. No, it's fine.
So I watched it and I was like, well, that did not suck at all. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So it starts off, and first of all, the effects already. How many episodes? We're on episode 15, right?
Yeah.
And the CGI has improved tremendously already from the first episode to now.
Yeah.
They're arriving at this. What would you call it? A
Starbase.
Starbase?
Yeah.
And
that Starbase
nice.
is taken from one of the movies. That's why it looks so good. It's like
okay. Like that shot in particular, made me think like, wow, like they pulled out all the stops for that shot. Like, why does it look so cinematic?
I think it was from like Star Trek 5. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
But that's why it looks so good, and I think that's why they also upped how all the detail they put into, like in the windows you can see people walking. They matted them in and stuff like that. Like it was a lot of work they put in for those shots because they were like, well, we're working with such a nice miniature. We should really try to make it look nice.
They arrive at Starbase 74. It's a huge starbase. They dock into the starbase, and everyone's excited because there's gonna be some upgrades to the ship. But this also means that there's a little bit of downtime for most of the crew. They're gonna go down into the starbase, and it's like a duty-free shop. I think. I imagine that's what it is. Like they're like, man, we get to buy the things that we don't usually have. Although they could just make anything. I'm sure
it's more of just a way to stretch their legs, mingle with a different type of people and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like a shore leave.
Yeah, I think this idea was appealing. This is why they eventually made Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine, the show, is about just a starbase,
right?
So it's like it makes this whole like because a starbase is more of a society than a ship is. The ship, people come and go, and there's like a crew. But a starbase is more of like it's a society, and there's just a commander who's there, kind of in charge. So
and they dock into this starbase, and for some reason I don't know why. I don't know why he's so excited, but the captain is like congratulating everybody, like, oh, great job, good job, everybody, good job. Like,
that's true. It's almost like they just completed a huge quest.
Yeah, and all they did was dock.
maybe that was their first time returning to a Federation port. Maybe this whole time they were actually doing a huge round. They finally returned.
That hard to believe, but since we've never seen it on screen, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never seen them actually come back, have we?
Maybe
'Cause,
Geordi has a bad whoe's piloting this fucking ship. Data or Geordi have like a bad track record. They keep fucking scratching fucking starships. you're like, yeah, this guy costs billions of dollars because he keeps scratching the side of the goddamn starship.
Yeah.
And
this is space paint. It's fucking expensive, you know.
Yeah. It's like $3 billion a square foot, dude.
Also, it's money. We don't use money in the future.
That's true, but they still would.
It still costs them money for some reason.
Yeah.
They still clearly trade, though. It's kind of weird.
I know, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense at all.
And so they dock into this thing, and everyone's like fucking excited. Everyone's like, "Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing?" I don't know. And then they dock, and the orifice, as I call it, that leads into the starbase, opens up, and what do we have here? A fucking Hispanic fucking Luc Picard, dude.
Yeah,
basically
exactly like him. Exactly like him.
Yeah. And in this world, commanders are the head person of the starbase. So he runs the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he is like 1-to-1. Picard is to Commander Quinteros. He's like the same.
Which is crazy because they look like.
And that's what Cisco was, right?
Cisco is a commander, yes.
Okay. The Cisco kid? No, I don't think so. He was an outlaw. Or Cisco the Dragon?
He moved on from the Thong Song and gained control of an entire starbase.
Yeah. And so this guy's like, "Hey, what's up, Captain?" And he's like, "Hey, this is Riker. What's up?" And then you got these two goddamn weird bald aliens. Yeah. And they're like, and that's how they talk. And they talk binary, right? Mm-hmm. And what are they called?
They're the binars.
The binos, albinos.
It's a little too on the nose, that name for their species.
Yeah, binars. And so they come in and they're like, and they're looking at each other and they're like, Already, I don't like the looks. The looks.
I think that's why I thought I hated this episode in retrospect, because I think the aliens themselves I find like, oh, you motherfuckers, like,
yeah. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of memes right now.
And
it's like, no, you can't just, commandeer a ship and take it back to your home planet. It's like, haha, binars go brrr.
That's literally what they do.
I
know. And so they're walking down the hall, and Riker goes to Commander Quintero, right?
Quinteros, yes.
Quintero?
Yeah, it's Quin.
Oh, Quintero, yeah. So he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna call him Q, because I'm gonna forget his name.
The real Q.
Yeah, the real Q.
The better Q.
Yeah, and
Q mejor.
Yeah, exactly. And old Riker's like, "These gentlemen are binars," and he's like, "Well, they're not gentlemen." Or ladies, for that fact. They're just they'll fuck whoever you want. They'll fuck whoever they want to fuck.
Ironically, the binars are non-binary.
Yeah.
That's true. This. Yeah, that's weird, huh? That's weird, huh? Why didn't they just drive that home point even further? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so they get taken to where they're gonna work, and they're gonna do some upgrades to the goddamn fucking this is what I don't get. It's a brand new fucking spaceship, dude. Why all these upgrades? And I get it. Like when I get an iPhone, it's like, hey, I open it up, fucking upgrade. Like, you got to download the goddamn fucking update. I get it, but like these are too many updates. Too big updates.
It's two things they were doing. I think they're just doing an upgrade in the computer, probably like a security update, like on a phone. Right?
Yeah.
That they're also fixing the holodeck. Because they do mention the holodeck's been giving us a lot of problems.
True.
Yeah.
They almost killed a
man. Several times they almost killed a man. Not a man, a whole ship, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's funny. So apparently this episode was originally meant to be shot before the big goodbye. So remember how when we were doing the big goodbye episode, you were like, what the fuck? How did you call them these aliens, these insect aliens, like they how did this beam or as a scan fuck up the holodeck, right? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right?
The Harada, yes. I think you call them like not the Turellians. It's too many fucking aliens.
Too many aliens.
The Maglians.
Yeah, the Maglians. There's too many, but they. You were like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Why would a scan affect just a holodeck, right?
This is weird because not only do I have to remember the real names, but the names I gave them, which is confusing.
You call them the electrolytes, such a
the electrolytes were the people with the hot chick that was with Teabag.
Yeah, the electrolytes are what he called the Turellians.
That was Turellians. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, well, Marvin, these motherfuckers.
We need a wiki.
These fucking insect people. Yeah. You were like, why would a scan affect just a holodeck? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, apparently it's because this episode was supposed to happen before, and the BRRRRs fucking with the holodeck caused a coincidental fuck up later for the big goodbye.
That makes sense.
That's why the big goodbye also started off with the premise of we just upgraded the holodeck. Well, who upgraded it? Yeah. It was supposed to have been the BRRRRs.
These goons.
Yeah, so that makes the order of events make a little more sense.
Does that mean that you could just conveniently slot this episode before the big goodbye without changing anything about like the overall like continuity of the show?
No, because in this episode they specifically say we have fixed the error created by the probe, and the probe specifically
they wrote themselves an out because they had already had to move it around. It was a little. I'm not sure why they switched the recording order. It might have just been technical, like, oh, we needed that Starbase set, but maybe it wasn't available. So that's too bad. They could have made it work.
Yeah, instead of making that big goodbye episode premise not make too much sense. It would have made a lot more sense.
They could have just X-Men Fox Kids'd it and just aired episodes completely out of order.
Or like Moral Oral, where they played the season finale first. Because the series premiered on Christmas and the season finale was a Christmas special.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it totally fucked that series up. So.
Well, there you go. Yes. They could have done that.
Yeah, but they didn't. They fucked it up. They fucked up the order. And so you have these goddamn goons who are like, "Hey, we're gonna work on this," and then the captain's like, "Hey, we got to bounce in 48 hours, dudes." And they're like, "Yeah, you thought we had more time." And they're like, "Nah, we got an appointment with some dudes, and we cannot be late for that appointment." Why they would have an appointment? They're like, "Well, you were supposed to be here. Like, you guys are like a week late." And they're like, "Yeah, we got tied up with some bullshit, blah blah blah." You guys don't need to know about that shit. And he's like, "Either way, we need to get the fuck out of here in 48 hours. And then Quintero's like, "Hey, we're going to try to do that, but no promises, my man." And he's like, all right. Well, I'm going to be in my quarters if you need me, if you want, if for any reason. And then Quintero leaves them there. He leaves the 1-1-0-1s there.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like weird, like Siamese. Like they're not attached, but they feel like they're attached. They're always
a unified pair.
Yeah. And they're always holding hands, so it looks like they're like physically interacting that way too sometimes.
Yeah. And then Luc Picard explains like they're connected and they speak their own language, and like they're connected, like they're basically like half computers kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their home world is actually one giant computer.
Yeah.
And it's they're all connected to it at all times.
They're like pod people, and their home world's Apple.
They're like the Nova Core.
Yeah. And so they're like, hey, they get in the elevator and they're like, "Yo, what's up? What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "I don't know. Just probably lose myself." This is what Luc Picard says. He's like, "I'm gonna probably read one of the sweet novels," and this makes sense now because this would have aired before he went into the holiday.
It would have been like a primer. He probably like, "I'm gonna read a good Dixon Hill novel." And then,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
the connective tissue's all there.
Yeah, and then Riker's like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know me. I end up masturbating the whole time."
I was about to say.
Basically, like,
I got to go to my quarters and just jack off to some point.
Yeah. I'm going to put on those harp ladies again.
Yeah. Have them fucking jack me off. And then then you see all these binary people. They're like, bling, 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 and they're fixing the computer on the bridge. And of course, fucking Wesley is there looking at them, all creeping on them like a fucking pervert again.
He's so suspicious.
He's just staring at them, And again, the eyes roam. I'm looking at his eyes. You look at him, and he's looking at their eye level, and then he lowers, and he's definitely checking out their butts. You can tell right away. He really
like tight ass.
Yeah, he's like, man, those preems look fucking mighty fine.
I mean, they are like made out of like this weird like reflective like material.
Yeah,
it's eye catching to some extent.
It's like it feels like they're wearing nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
And Luc Picard goes to his ready room. And then Riker's like goes to Wesley, who's just staring at them. He's like, "Hey, I thought there was only going to be 2 of them, but now there's fucking 4 of these fuckers.
The fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck's going on?" And immediately they're acting sketchy. They're like, "Oh,
yeah.
bling, bling." And you're like, "Fuck, dude, we've gone through this too many goddamn times, dude." Number 1, you shoot 2 of them, and you go, "This is what's gonna happen if you guys fuck with us, dude. We do not take fucking with us lightly, dude."
Yeah, they had and this exact same problem happened before in where no one has gone before, where they literally technical expert comes in with an alien, starts an upgrade, fucks everyone over.
No, literally, like this all should feel very familiar and worrying to everyone.
Yeah, and then Riker's like, "Hey, is there anything wrong?" He's like, "No, nothing's wrong here. Everything's good. How about you guys?" And immediately I'm like, dude, the thing is that they need somebody on this bridge who's shady as shit and is like, "Nah, dude, we got to take one of their fingers." We take one of their fingers, and we definitely said it like, "Hey, we don't fuck with people here. You fuck with us, we'll take your whole fucking hand, bitches." But they don't. They're like, "Oh, sure, let's let them fuck us over, and then we'll figure out how to get out of it."
Yeah.
And Wes is like, "You sound like you don't trust them," and he's like, "Yeah, maybe I don't, because we've been fucked before, Wesley, you fucking bitch, especially by you ass face." and
takes one to know one.
I know. And he whispers in his ear, he's like, "Hey, keep your eye on them, dude.
I know,
especially the ones that you think look like a lady or a dude. I don't know, Wesley, whatever you fucking like, my man." They have both parts.
Wesley is the worst candidate for this. Like, you're basically saying, "Hey, you're a terrorist. Can you watch these other potential terrorists and make sure they don't commit terror?"
It's like when a tech company hires a hacker.
Yeah, exactly. And already they're giving him the side eye. These
they sure
are
are
giving him the fucking side eye, and they're like, "Oh fuck, dude, this fucking ratty ass kid's gonna fucking fuck our shit up, dude." And so the next scene is the Riker's walking around. He doesn't know what the fuck.
I love this sequence of events because it's like we start seeing like just a recreational life of what you do as a Star Trek person.
Yeah,
this is great.
Star Trek person.
yeah. And he's walking around and he sees Yara and Snarf? Worf. Damn it, dude.
Yeah, Snarf.
Narf. I have a bad feeling about this, Lionel. That's the guy from the Thundercats.
Yes.
And Worf, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go play some weird fucking sport from like Starship Trooper. Some weird space
squares.
Football. Yeah. Racist squares. And he's like, "You guys want to join us?" And he's like, "Hey, you guys got a whole team." And she's like, "Hey, we'll switch out, man, if you know what I mean." And he's like, No, you guys, it's gonna slow the game down. You guys be cool. You guys go down there and have some fun. And Worf is like, "Yes, we will be victorious, Worf." And he's like, "Dude, you gotta be cool, dude. Be cool, enjoy. You gotta make some friends. It's the spirit of the game." And he's like, "Then why the fuck do we compete, Commander? Why the fuck do we keep fucking score?"
Yeah.
And then Yara and him have like a good interaction. He's like, "I think he's fucking joking around. I think he's being a weirdo, man.
He's picking up a sense of humor, he's becoming more human."
Yeah.
Although they don't give you any indication that Tasha's interpretation is correct, because Worf changes nothing about his behavior. He's completely deadpan the whole time. She might be wrong.
Yeah.
There might be dead bodies off screen by the end of this episode, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then the power starts to surge, and so like Riker's like, "Hey, computer, what the fuck's going on here, man?" And the computer's like, "Well, they're kind of like anywhere where there's not people and stuff that are like necessary thingamajigs were powering down the power.
Mm-hmm.
And just something that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Riker's like, I don't like this, dude. Something sketchy's going on. But he doesn't go investigate those weird people because Wesley's on the fucking job, and we know that Wesley doesn't fuck shit up. And then he goes to see what Data and Geordi are doing, and this is a really fucked up scene because like Data's trying to like paint, like make a painting.
It's so strangely like asshole. Like he's such a dick.
Yeah, I have the line specifically brought up because I was like, "What the fuck, man?
Like why?"
Well, what do you think?
Tell me what it's supposed to be, and then I'll give you my opinion.
It is an attempt at pure creativity.
What we're investigating is, can Data be creative?
And this is my attempt. With guidance from Geordi.
I suggested the Xylo eggs.
Is that what those are?
Wow.
Keep notes. This project may turn out to be of interest to scholars in the future.
Really?
Well, of course, think about it. A blind man teaching an android how to paint. That's got to be worth a couple of pages in somebody's book.
A dick.
I know. He says that with like the biggest shit-eating grin on his face.
And then the reaction shot, actually, you cut back to Geordi, and Geordi's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, they are acting offended.
Yeah. Why would you make light of the fact that I'm blind? That's
I know.
I can't say anything because you're superior. You're my superior officer, so I can't really talk back right now. But the fuck.
Gosh,
it's an odd moment. Yeah.
And so he insults them, and then he walks away. So basically, he's going to see what everybody's doing. Basically, he's going to check up on everybody, and he goes to see Dr. Crusher, and Dr. Crusher's like, "Oh," and he's like, "You look like you're packing a fucking like bone out of here, dude. What the fuck's going on?"
Bone out of here.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, I want to meet Dr. Fauci, no, Dr. Epstein, in his sex island," and she's like, he's like, I know, dude. It's a horrible joke, dude. Dr. Epstein is like the leading like robotics dude. And he's so it's gonna be awesome, and she's all stoked about it, and he's like, well, everybody's got shit to do, and they don't have shit to do, so he looks kind of like, well, and he's got a weird grin on his face when he leaves her, like he's like, oh yeah, everyone's gone from the ship now for the masturbating.
No one can hear me.
Yeah, no one can hear my screams. No one knows I scream like Worf when I climax. So he goes to check up on the goddamn fucking purple people, and they're like, we just and he's like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, we just finished updating this holodeck. It's beautiful. Do you want to have a try? You should definitely try it.
The moment they say that, you're like, no, nope, thank you.
Nope,
I'm walking away.
Nope. But this guy's been thinking about the harp ladies and jacking off to them all fucking day. So he's like, oh yes, if you've updated the goddamn fucking holodeck, I'm definitely gonna go in there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, open this baby up, dude. Let me in. And then he's like, what location do you want? And he picks like New Orleans. Well, he picks Kansas for some weird reason, right? Doesn't he? Like,
Kansas City. Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City is actually a. I know this because I actually visited Kansas City for a thing. It's like a very rich jazz culture there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it makes sense actually for a certain type of more straightforward jazz. If you're going to like New Orleans, where he was going for, that's more of like that type of jazz. It's a little different.
And he picks New Orleans. He's like 1958, and he like is very specific about what he wants, and he picks the location, the type of bar he wants. He's like, all right, give me somebody on the piano, on the drums, on the bass, and then I'm going to play the old. What does he play?
The trombone.
The trombone.
He called it the bone. Yeah. It's the first time we. This is like kind of like a minor in joke whenever Bright Group brings up the trombone, because it's like almost a comedy instrument, right?
Yeah.
But it's like his instrument of choice. And I don't know if it's because I don't
find anything funny about the word tromboner.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if Jonathan Frakes actually plays the trombone.
Okay.
And that's why they chose that?
I think he's talking about the Urban Dictionary stuff.
What do you mean?
The rusty trombone? You know what I'm talking about?
That was a swerve.
And he just rusted it a little, and then
yeah. Maybe he likes the like ladies' buttholes.
Oh no.
Or he likes to get his butthole licked. But anyway, he's like, all right, give me some audience. And then they pack it. They pack the place.
Oh,
and
I just looked it up randomly. Jonathan Frakes does actually play the trombone.
nice.
So that's why they have him play it in the show. Okay. All right.
So then he's like, bring down. I don't want that many people. And they take everybody out, but one girl. So like this bar is like the loneliest bar in the world.
Yeah.
And this girl is like, she's got like blonde hair, and he basically like insults all blondes. He's like, blondes.
So
Yeah,
he
says and jazz seldom go together.
I know, that's a really weird. He's kind of weird this episode.
Yeah, the whole way through, honestly.
Yeah,
and so they give him a brunette, and he's like, nah, not hot enough, dude. Get rid of
more
this.
sultry,
hotter. And so finally, like this like, I guess it would be a girl who would hang out in those joints. She's kind of like French. She's got like a French name.
Minuet.
Yeah, Minuet, which sounds really weird and dirty. But he's like, yeah, and then he instantly is like, oh man, she's fucking hot as shit, dude. I'm gonna go talk to her. And then the Mennonites, or whatever they're called, the purple people, they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna keep fucking with this thing, and they're like messing with it, and she is very into this thing, dude. I mean, he is very into her. He's like, oh fuck, dude, what's your name? And he's like, tell me you love jazz. And he's like, my name is Minuet. And he's like, I like jazz except Dixieland. And he's like, why not Dixieland? And he's like, because you can't dance. And he is fucking rock hard, dude.
It's not on screen, but you feel it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it has to be close-ups. They can't do long shots.
Yeah.
This was airing on TV.
Yeah, dude. So then he's all rock hard for this girl, and he's like, he's into her, dude. He's really into her.
Not yet. He's not into her yet.
Well, no, he's into her, dude. Come on, dude. I know what you're talking about, but he's into her. And so the purple people are like, oh, our mission accomplished. He was definitely led by his penis. And they're like looking at each other, giving themselves eyes.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we got him. We trapped him. And he keeps talking to her, and she could have anything she wants, dude. Like,
yeah,
she could have asked, like, hey, I want you to kill the captain, and he would have been like, fuck it, I'm doing it, dude. And so the purple people leave, and the holodeck closes up, and they're just alone in the deck. In the bar, and she's touching his like face and his like neck, and he, oh man, he's into it, man. And then back in the bridge, Wesley is creeping on these people, the two binaries that are still there, and they're like, and then they're like touching things, and he's like, hey, he goes to Gintera, and he's like, hey, can I ask you a question about these dudes or ladies or whatever you call them? And he's like, well, why don't you answer them? And he's
that's
like,
true.
Oh.
That's really rude to them.
Yeah. And he's like, oh. And he's like, yo, what's that high pitched noise you're making? And he's like, oh, that's our primary language. That's how we speak. It's called pring pring. And he's like, oh, we also have computers on our hips to let us speak to each other, and we just make these weird noises, and that's how we talk. And then the Captain Picard shows up, and this is awesome. This not only is awesome, but this is also very intrusive, by the way. Yeah. He goes to Wesley, and he's like, hey, where the fuck is Riker, dude? And I don't know why he's looking for him. And he's like, oh, he went to the holodeck. Do you want me to call him? And he's like, nah, I'll surprise him. And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? What if he's like fucking this chick, and like Luke Picard rolls in?
Yeah.
How embarrassing.
Do
holodecks
would that not have a privacy system?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you never know.
Riker makes a point to never activate the privacy.
Yeah,
it keeps things thrilling.
Yeah, maybe he wants the captain to walk in.
Someone could find us at any time.
And then so he's playing the old bone, and not his dick. And we're talking about the trombone. And he sucks. And like all the musicians, they're like, yeah, don't quit your day job. You suck, dude.
Basically,
But why don't you go talk to the lady? Anything to get you off the stage, because you're a horrible fucking musician, dude. And so he's like, all right, yeah, whatever's gonna get you off, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So he goes back to talk to her, and he's like, hey, well, we should dance. And like they're getting really close. They don't show their bottom half because it's getting rated R down there.
I also brought up that conversation that they have because it's like
dude.
kind of like setting up what Riker's all about.
Yeah. Tell me about your work. What is it about it that consumes and enthralls you?
An interesting choice of words. That's exactly what it does.
You're very fortunate
I know that.
to be exactly where you want to be. And it's great that you realize it.
I'd be a fool not to realize how lucky I am to be on this ship serving with these people. It's like a dream come true. Just like this.
A dream? Is that what this is? Is that what I am?
I know you're a computer-generated image, but your smell, your touch, the way you feel, even the things you say and think seem so real.
Thank you.
How far can this relationship go? I mean, how real are you?
As real as you need me to be.
Yeah, so he's basically completely in love with her at this point.
Yeah. And they're full on making out, dude. They start full on making out, and like the musicians are looking at them, which is really weird. And they're really into it, dude.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure Riker was like, "Can we do another take, please?" And they're really into it, and then zip, the door opens, and fucking Picard's
bursts in like Kramer.
Hey, he's like, "Hey, this fucking place is awesome, man." Astounding.
He's like, this place is cool.
And he's like, Captain, and he's got lipstick all over his mouth.
Yeah,
and he's
like, Minuet's helping him wipe it off and shit. And like,
he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just was gonna see if you're banging somebody in here."
Kind of meant to interrupt.
Yeah.
He learned from Dixon Hill's friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he just showed up like 15 minutes after he left his friend to go bone somebody.
He clearly knew somebody was gonna fuck, and he went to interrupt her to be the third wheel. And at this point of this episode, I'm thinking, man, Devil's three-way, dude. Captain's gonna join in, and like it looks like that, dude. It looks
it's
like
a setup for it for sure.
Yeah,
it looks like they're. I mean, like it's a bit revealed a little bit later, but it is sort of the point of her system is to try to appeal to both of them as much as she can.
Right.
Yeah.
She's an ensnaring program.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she starts speaking French to him, and he's like, "Oh, le petit toi."
It's hilarious because he clearly has a British accent, while still speaking French.
Yeah.
Also, like Minuet was like, "Oh," he asked her like, "Oh, how did you know French?" And she goes, "Oh, it's easy. You have a foreign last name."
Yeah, you have a French last name, you idiot.
But then and then that prompted me to access my foreign language bank.
Yeah, I know. So are French people considered like weird and foreign in the future or something?
Yeah,
where they're like they're like
an ancient indecipherable language. Remember Professor Farnsworth?
Bonjour.
And so she's like, and like
rubbish.
The captain's like, fuck, excuse me, liking it. And he's like, "Oh fuck, she's fucking amazing too." So
she's
they
like, join us. Oh, that's all.
Yeah, and like,
they start
and the captain,
but they sit on either side of her, and they just keep looking all creepily
it's
at
weird.
each other.
It's a little odd. Yeah,
yeah. They keep giving each other the eye, like, "Hey,
it's happening. It's in like a minute."
Yeah, he's like, if I get enough drinks in the captain, we're gonna get really intimate.
Also, proof that you can drink in the holodeck
and get drunk.
So
apparently.
it must be a replicator. There's no other way that can ever make any sense.
Yeah.
Which makes this holodeck incredibly dangerous.
Well,
Yeah.
and another thing too, it's like that virus that came from like the hollow ski slopes.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
it's a virus that was able to persist forever outside of the holodeck as well.
Yeah.
And so they
yeah.
replicated a virus
Yeah.
for some reason, for realism.
The
I don't
virus.
know.
Yeah, for
The
realism.
virus. Yeah. The virus I'd like for it to replicate is Cyrus the Virus, John Malkovich character from Con Air.
And also Nicolas Cage. Just bring him in there
Yeah.
and we go, oh,
Like, imagine
I gotta
if
get to
like
my daughter.
if those two characters were in this fucking universe, man. Cyrus the Virus was a villain.
the Enterprise is now Con Air. They take it over.
and like Nicolas Cage had to help like Geordi and them like just fucking beat the shit out of Cyrus the Virus.
Yeah, they pull out their phasers, but Nick Cage just runs in and just beats the shit out of them with his fists.
With his mullet. And he's like, all I'm trying to do is get back to my family who I left. My daughter. I bought this teddy bear for her.
He still has the tank top on and everything.
Yeah, completely unchanged.
Yeah. They're like, Nick, what do you want to look like in this movie? Like, what do you want your wardrobe? He's like, have you guys seen Hard Target? Whatever Van Damme was wearing, just give me that look.
And just make me greasy. Greasy as fuck.
And so then we move over to what Geordi and Data are doing, which is they're not in the holodeck, but they hear this. Oh no, it's Wesley who calls him up, right?
Yeah,
he calls him up. He's like, hey, these goons say there's something really weird like in engineering. You should go check it out. Yeah, and then Wesley and Geordi and Data, they go to engineering, and they're like,
but the exact phrasing, which really bothers me about the way Wesley says it, he goes like, it's not the exact phrasing, but basically goes, hey, Data, there's a problem. Data goes, okay, can you be more specific? And then Wesley goes, I can't be more specific, but also here is the problem more specifically. He's
like how am I not being clear, Data? You stupid piece of shit. I'm a child. And then so they go to the engineering and they're like, oh fuck, dude, this thing's gonna blow, dude. The antimatter bullshit fucking thing, and it's gonna come out and then it's gonna explode and we're gonna be fucked, dude. And Data like does the old computing in the head, and he's like, oh, we got to abandon ship, dude.
It's a genuinely thrilling scene. It might be like the first like really exciting scene of the series where you're like, oh shit, a thing is really happening. We got to really get out of here. And
it really comes out of left field too. It's like, wait, what the fuck? Like suddenly the entire ship is at risk. And everyone on it has to evacuate now. I
grabbed it because even though like Data is not supposed to be emotional, the way he talks about the scene is really interesting, and it adds a lot of urgency to everything because like
it's really tense stuff. His delivery.
Bridge. This is main engineering. This is the bridge. Are you running any test programs up there? No. Are the binars?
Not to my knowledge. Is there a problem?
I don't know. There's no one on duty here, and we're getting some very strange readings from the magnetic containment field.
The field is deteriorating. Contact the captain immediately. I am initiating red alert.
It initiated red alert right away.
Containment field.
Engineering to captain. If the antimatter is released, the ship will be destroyed.
Nothing I do has any effect. I'm losing it. Data, I've rechecked every circuit. This is not a mystery by the computer.
Computer, situation analysis.
Estimate release of antimatter in 4 minutes, 18 seconds. 17 seconds. 16 seconds.
Engineering to bridge.
That's also taking longer than a second to read.
Alert Starbase. Inform them we are abandoning the ship. Tell them why. Initiate automated sequence for departure. Set course and speed to put maximum distance between the Enterprise and any inhabited planets.
Shouldn't we wait for the captain's approval?
There is no time. Based on all information presently available, the decision is correct. This is Lieutenant Commander Data speaking for the captain. Abandon ship. This is not a drill. All personnel, this is not a drill. I say again, abandon ship. All personnel, this is not a drill. Abandon ship.
That's a funny act break because it just centers on the Bynars just like at each other, like in a static shot.
Yeah, that implies something. That implies so the warp core is you transport because of a matter antimatter reaction, right?
Yes.
So that implies if the power just goes down, you'll fucking take out a solar system.
Yeah,
because they have to get away from the closest inhabited planet.
Yeah,
so when this thing
really
goes
be
up,
flying
it's
around
supposed to create like a new black hole or something.
Yeah, what makes sense is if you're doing a matter antimatter reaction,
right?
You probably are just destroying matter. You're literally negating matter. It may be not even necessarily a black hole, but like just destroys whatever is nearby from reality. So it's like, should we really use these? Like, I know we want to go really fast, but
hey man, we got nuclear power plants. We're fine.
They're basically like potential weapons of mass destruction.
So are power plants, though.
I guess so.
It's just in a ship and bigger. And then so everyone evacuates, and Wesley's like, "Fuck it, I'm bouncing," and everyone leaves, and they get to the Starbase 74, and they're like, "Hey, where's the Captain Riker?" They're like, "Nowhere to be found, dude." And they're like, "Oh shit!" And the starship has already kind of undocked and is like bouncing out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then back in the holodeck, the girl's like putting the hard press on them, like, "Hey, don't fucking leave." Like she's really seducing them, and you can see the captain kind of be like, "Yeah, I gotta go," and like he's like, "I don't want to do it still three-way with Riker. It's gonna be weird afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not cool. I think we don't know each other that long.
Yeah,
you know,
it always makes things awkward. We don't really want.
Yeah, if we were better friends, I think it would be fine. But I think we're good coworkers as opposed to really good friends. So yeah, hard pass. And she's like, no, but stay. And that's when he's like, "No, fuck this. Give me the fucking exit, dude. Get us the fuck out of here." And they open the doors, and the red alert's going beep beep.
Mm-hmm.
And they ask the girl, "Hey, what's up, dude? What the fuck's going on here, man?" And she's like, "No, I was made to keep you guys here." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know." And so they're like, "All right, let's find out what the fuck's going on, dude." And then they can't reach the bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do?" And they're like, "All right, well, they basically figure out that, and the ship's already like at warp speed. It's getting out of there. It's in case this thing blows, so it won't hurt anybody." And they're like, "All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab some phasers, let's get some guns, space
go to
guns.
the weapon room, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they fucking get locked and loaded, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna beam our way into the bridge." And they realize like that there's a bunch of like info that these weird people dumped into the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "All right." And meanwhile, in Base 74, they're like, "We can't figure it out where they are." And then Data's blaming himself. He's like, "Oh, if I hadn't had the love of art."
At first they were basically told, "Wait a minute, everything's going back to normal. What's going on?" And the spaceship blasted away to somewhere they didn't choose. So now they have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
And then you have the scene. I also pulled this one. I pulled up a lot of clips for this one where Data, because this is an interesting piece of Data character development because he's feeling guilt, which is not usual.
Still no response from the Enterprise.
They would answer if they could. Someone else has control of the ship.
Do you think I am responsible?
Responsible? How could you possibly have known?
My station is on the bridge.
You can't be on the bridge every second, Data.
You were wrong, Geordi. I can. I do not need rest or diversion. I should not have been painting. I was negligent.
It's a pointless discussion, Data. You could have been on the bridge and it still might have happened.
Yeah, so it's just like, I could
Don't
just
worry,
become a
Data.
full
You
robot.
might suck after all.
Also, I should stop humanizing. I should just become full robot. That will make me the ultimate starship officer. But
and they're like, "Shut up, fucking Data. You don't know shit, dude." And so the captain and Riker, they beam into the bridge, and they're like, tell us what fucking is wrong with this thing." And the 101 people, they're like, "Yeah, we're dying. Please help us." And they're
all in a convenient heap. together.
Yeah. They're like back to back. Everybody, get back to back. And basically they're like, "Oh, help us!" And they die.
We just skipped over an important part. They started the auto destruct sequence.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And actually, I really love the justification that Picard gives very quickly and correctly. It's like, well, if we're not in control of the ship, we have to assume the fucking worst. This is like a really powerful starship with huge weapons and things. Like, if we're not in control, it's dangerous. We have to destroy it.
And as the number 1 and number 2 officers, it's our duty to go down with it if it has to.
Right.
So
and you know what?
Prepared to do that.
Another thing about this episode in general that I'm now remembering is that is it just me, or is there a lot more score going on? There's a lot more like just general music happening.
I think the first season in general, if I remember correctly, every episode was scored. Like BTAS style, like a Batman the Animated Series style, where they gave it like an actual score instead of just using music.
It felt like this episode in particular felt a little more wall to wall to me.
It might have. I mean, this feels like an overall higher budget episode.
Yeah,
right?
The production values are higher in this episode. I kept noticing it's like it just seems a little higher quality across the board. Yeah,
like for first season special effects, they look really good. They had many sets, like Starbase set, the Jazz set. Like there's a shot where they're just going through empty hallways just to establish that everything's empty, and that's kind of interesting. Like there was all these different technical things they were doing to like make the episode like. I think that's part of why I really like the episode. This is like it's very like there's a lot going on, both in terms of the story and also in terms of like just the construction of it, like the evacuation sequence, like people are going into the turbolifts and into like.
I like how one kid trips when going down the hall.
That's got to happen, right? Always like there's some little kid who goes, "Oh, mom," and he falls.
At least he wasn't trampled. He just gets up right away. It's like, oh, good, it's fine.
Should have been.
I was just like, don't use the transporter. It's so slow. We're not gonna get. Like,
you'll never get past Jason Statham anyway.
Yeah, he'll just fucking kick your ass, dude.
Hey, when you're Jason Statham, every room is a transporter room.
Oi, fuck you, mate. Kick the kid in the face, dude. And so they get in there and they're like, hey, what's going on? And they figure out that these Midas people put like a ton of information into this computer. So they go back to Minuet and they're like, hey, lady, what the fuck's going on, man? And they're like, okay, I remember you asked me earlier and I didn't tell you. Well, I do know. Let me tell you what's happening.
Yeah, it's literally what's going on. Yeah.
He's like there's basically like an EMP that went off by their planet, and they didn't want to lose all their data basically, so they put it in the cloud, which is your goddamn starship. They uploaded it here.
That's literally what's going on.
Yeah, and there's like, hey, so you guys have to download it back to the planet, and then it'll be fine, and everything will be cool. And they're like, well, why didn't they just ask us for help? And he's like, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm just a hot lady in this computer that really doesn't have a soul. Or, I mean, yeah, I do. We don't know. So she's like, that's all I have. That's all I have. I know earlier I told you that I didn't know it. And then I told you this stuff, but that's all I know.
For sure.
And they're like, yeah. And they're like, well, if I had the file name of the goddamn file.
Oh, yeah.
How am I going to know what the file name is? What is the file name?
Oh, how quaint.
and then she's like, oh, like basically it's like, well, it's got to be something simple. It's probably, it's right in front of your face and you don't even know it, dude.
Also, that's dangerous. Putting everything into one large zip file, like, you know how easily that could get corrupted? I would not have done that. I would have just put
it's like copy of binar database _1 parentheses final.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no. So then they go back and they're like, hey, how do we access this thing? They call Data to help them, and he's like, yeah, no, like, what would be your password, dude? You're a robot. What would be your password, dude, that you pick?
First of all, that's racist, but second, here's a solution.
Yeah. And he's like, well, he's talking about like basically binary language, which is like ones and zeros and shit. And he's like, that's fucking interesting. Let's keep it simple, if you know what I mean. And they're like, all right, well, let's just fucking do it. Let's look for this stupid file. And they go, this is it's so futuristic, but it's so low tech that like,
it also makes no sense knowing, since we now live in a society that knows about computers.
Yeah, none of this makes any sense at all. This is so 80s.
Like, everybody knows about computers. Like no matter how like tech inept you are, you know more than this, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, one of the things you're probably going like, they're probably on a different operating system. How did they even copy shit over? Like, all of this doesn't matter. All of this doesn't match up.
It's raw binary data. Every byte in that system was filled up because they didn't want to shell out for the premium upgrade on Dropbox.
And then they're like, and then Riker punches it in, and he's like, oh no, it doesn't work. And he's like, let me get on the other computer and do it as well. And he does it in that computer. He's like, oh, it's working. There it is. Yeah. It started to download the shit.
It's binary.
Yeah. And he's like, oh man, their system is incredible. Like, these computers are incredible. And then those binary people that were there, they're like, oh, we're waking up. We were just faking it.
We're just faking it.
Luke Picard literally just said, oh, they're dead. These fuckers are dead. But like all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're alive. And they started like punching numbers, and then like Riker's like, fucking fakers, bitch ass fucking fakers. and then they're like, oh, our world was dying, and we owe you a world of gratitude. I know we're gonna be punished. And they're like, yeah, you're gonna be punished, you fucking idiots. And he's like, why did you guys do this? And he's like, well, we thought you'd say no, so we just fucking sold your shit as a cloud. And they're like, all right. Well, I mean, if it was me, I'd just beat the shit out of him. I'm like, dude, you almost killed us, dude, you fucking idiot. First of all, I'm like, I line them up and go, okay, line up here. And then I do a fucking Three Stooges slap where I just fucking slap them all in one fucking shot. Boom. And I'm like, now you are going to trial. Now we're going to fucking kill your asses, dude, just to scare them. I know we're not going to kill them, but just
you're
so
gonna
like
kill them just to scare them.
Nah, just have them spend 3 minutes in the transporter room.
Kill them just a little bit.
Well, we're going to sneak down to the transporter room with our friend that doesn't have a name. We just call him the whore transporter. and they send him down there, and he's like, oh, but this man doesn't have a shirt on, and
he's so greasy,
beating the shit out of him. Luke Picard, he looks a lot like you. Is he your brother? And he's like, yeah, my brother from another mother that kicks fucking ass. and so the Luke Picard's like, I haven't done this in a while, but let me take a shot at this. And he does this thing where, like, when your grandma, well, not grandma, like when your parents type, and where they're like, okay,
yeah,
A, and then they hit the button, and their hand goes up really fucking high.
Yeah,
like, A, a B. Yeah, it's like, just fucking hit enter, dude.
Like, I don't have it in front of me, but does he twiddle his fingers at all?
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He goes, ooh, it's been a while, but you're in good hands.
Yeah, and he doesn't do the typing normal. He does it the middle finger thing, which is like, I don't know how to type, but let me use the middle finger.
Yeah,
enter. And so he gets them back to the battle base, or whatever it's called.
Shouldn't Riker have done that? Isn't he the top pilot?
I guess so, yeah.
Why did Picard?
Riker's like, oh man, he may kill us, but it'll be fun. And so they come back in, they dock, and it just proves that you could run this whole shit with two people.
Yeah, that's essentially what's going on.
Yeah. And they dock it back in, and then they're like, first thing I go, fucking Quintero, you fucking piece of shit, dude. First of all, is your brother a guy named Jesus? And does he like to bowl? And he likes to does he expose himself to fucking minors? Isn't the Big Lebowski character also Quintero? I think it is. Jesus Quintero.
Is it Jesus Quintero?
I think so, dude. I may be wrong, but somebody look it up. and then so they pick up the crew, and they're like, well, all's well that ends well. And Riker's like, finally, I'm gonna get to go fuck that chick, dude.
Yeah, he goes, may I be please excused?
Yeah, he's like, please excuse me, and do not interrupt me for at least like 10 minutes.
Just real quick, and it's Jesus Quintana.
Quintana, that's what it is.
Okay,
close enough, dude. And so he goes back to the holodeck, And he's like, "Hey, baby, I'm back." And she turns around and it's a different girl, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, "God damn it. Fuck, dude. Now I got to go deal with the harp ladies."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh,
I can't go back to
like,
the harp ladies, man. Not after this."
And he's like, "You're not Minuet." And she's like, "Oh." And she's like, "Oh," and she looks like she's like, "Well, I'm still willing." And he's like, "Nah, fuck you, I'm out." And then he goes back to the bridge, and he didn't say, yeah. He doesn't like play it off. He's like, "That she's fucking gone." He's so sad, dude. He's like, "She's gone, dude."
I can't. Yeah, he admitted straight up to him that like,
yeah.
I wanted to fuck her.
Yeah,
I never got the chance.
And
you interrupted me.
Yeah, even look, Picard's like, man, what a shame. I would have used her as well.
Although Picard is it is of note that Picard was the one who's like, I don't need this, and he walked away in the
because he has self-control, but Riker is fucking pervert, dude.
Yeah, it's implied that Riker would have probably been in there indefinitely.
Yeah.
Picard had not walked in.
Yeah. And Riker goes and sits down all fucking sad. And he's like, "Yeah, I got no R&R. I didn't get to fuck anything." And then they bone out of the starbase and they're like, fucking we're late for our appointment. Yeah.
They have to go scare away another Romulan vessel.
Yeah. Bitch ass shit.
I want to point out real quick that on Netflix, this episode is rated TV PG for sex and fear.
Oh.
What's the fear?
I don't know. Fear of your planet dying, I guess. I mean, that's a legitimately heavy fear, but
fear of self-destruct, fear of warp core failure,
just sex, fear,
or fear of sex.
Maybe
with Minuet. By the way, the name Minuet, that was originally supposed to be the name of Data's love interest in what was the original draft of Data lore.
Oh, so Minuet would have been an android.
What's the name?
Minuet.
Oh, I was saying Mimolette, which is a cheese, which is a French cheese.
You were saying a lot of things.
Yeah, dude. I'm sorry. I've had one too many drinks tonight, and I'm saying a lot of things.
This is the quality that we want on Newbie Star Trek. Okay, we're not here for accuracy.
You're here for my interpretation.
We're here for the experience,
right?
If you want accuracy, go to some other Star Trek podcast. That's not what this is about. Okay, we're here just to fuck you. All right.
Admittedly,
by the time if you use just our podcast as a source of information for Star Trek,
you won't know what to call anything.
Yeah, you will be fucked by the end of the series. And that's the way we want it. God damn it.
Yeah, Captain Luke and Lieutenant Yara are gonna go to the electrolyte planet of Marmalette
and meet and fight Jason Statham.
Yeah.
In the transport. Every time you need to leave the ship, you have to fight Jason Statham to prove your worth.
If any listeners want to know what the fuck I'm talking about, go to YouTube and type in Jason Statham oil fight the transporter. I'm serious, dude. And
it's a good fight. Yeah.
The first thing that pops up is going to be Jason Statham without a shirt on.
Does that have anything to do with his kaiju battle?
Kaiju battle.
Wasn't there a transporter movie where he was literally having like a Godzilla battle in like while hallucinating?
What? I don't remember that at all. Dude.
Oh God! Don't tell me I imagined this.
Is this another Die Benny?
No, it has to be real.
It has to be real.
Please, God. It's in Crank 2 High Voltage.
Oh, that's Crank. I just remembered. Yeah.
Crank,
Yeah. Well, Crank has so much fucking crazy shit happening that you almost don't remember it. You have to
they fight like two giant monsters in like an electrical whatever the hell you call that sort of place with a bunch of wires.
It's like shit. You forget that movie had like a talk show segment and shit. Like
that's right.
That movie's fucking nuts, dude.
Anyway, that is also in the transporter room.
And Q was in Crank High Voltage, so it brings it all around, dude.
Yeah. Oh man, Star Trek,
dude. Oi. Fuck you, mate.
Star Trek Crank. That's like the next series CBS puts on All Access.
Dude, if they put a Star Trek Crank edition, no, if they just literally put Jason Statham in any fucking Star Trek movie, I'm gonna be very fucking upset that I don't get the credit. I suggested it first, so let it be.
He'll become of a certain age, and then he'll look perfect.
Make it so.
Hey, totally could do it.
Yeah.
Paramount with Simon
It's gonna
Pegg.
be awesome when he says, instead of make it so, he's gonna be, oh, fuck you, make it so.
he just goes, oh, I fucking do it.
yeah.
Watch it.
We kind of gave him an Australian accent.
I know it's not. That's not what he sounds like.
Oh, crikey.
It's just getting worse. It's getting worse all the time.
This is also fucking up people's interpretations of who Jason Statham is as a person.
Well, this Jason Statham is getting played by one of the Helmsworth brothers, so it makes sense.
So it's starring Jason Statham, portrayed by a Hemsworth brother.
Yeah, that's why it's Australian. He's like, "Oi, fuck you, mate! Fucking kangaroos! Who let this fucking kangaroo on the bridge?
We have to transport him out."
Now I gotta fight him. Poof! Oh man, this went off the rails really fast. I apologize.
I'm sorry. It's my fault. I'm the one who keeps bringing up Jason Statham today.
He's a great man, dude. He's a great man.
He's beautiful.
Yeah.
Remember him in the King or the Throne of the King? The fucking shitty
The King and I.
Like what did you think about the episode, Ricardo?
I'm gonna give it. I liked it. There was eroticism. There was bring people. There was some good jokes. There was bitch ass Wesley's in it a little bit. Just enough to like hate him, but be like, he wasn't a total fucking bitch ass.
Yeah, he just did a job correctly and then moved on. So that's fine. Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it. Fuck, dude. I'm gonna give it 8.5.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Dan? What did you think about the episode? We never really got your general opinion on what you thought.
I enjoyed it, so I think it's in the 8-ish territory for me. And real quick, because I said this at sometime during the last episode, I said we would try to find out what binary was, like what this title meant in binary.
Oh yeah, what does that mean?
Turns out it doesn't mean a lot. Probably the most significant thing it can mean is in Unicode, the episode's working title 1010100001 is translated as a copyright symbol. However, everything else is just like a random ass number or like character. It's nothing in particular.
But then why did they change? Because the original title of the episode was actually 10101001.
Oh, you're right. It is different from what it ended up being.
Why did they change it?
Because this is from Memory Alpha, but when converting from base 2, additional factors like sign interpretation might apply. So in decimal base 10, the title could be 201 when interpreted as an unsigned integer, or -55 as a signed 8-bit integer. This is getting a little too much into the weeds for me. Like, I don't know everything about how binary works. So, but basically, it's
talking about,
yeah, it's just like it can end up being as any of these random numbers, basically. So I was hoping it would be significant, but it turns out it wasn't.
Okay, so okay, I'm looking at the article too. So I guess the original title could translate into the copyright symbol, but the new thing translates to like nothing, nothing significant.
I guess the last bit says like the 2 4-bit nibbles 1100 and 1001 correspond to the combined names of each pair of binars who come aboard the Enterprise. 11 with 00 and 10 with 01. Because we didn't mention their names at all, but their names were just either like 2 digits.
Their names are horrible.
Yes, because like. Yeah, great. Like they came up with enough names for 4 people exactly. Like you've already done all the variations with those 4, basically.
We're done. Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Stupid. Why would
there
they
only
do
4
that?
binars in existence?
Why wouldn't they just be like, "Hello, I am Charlie and I am Tony,"
or longer sequences of 0s and 1s? Because if there's any more than that, they need to be able to differentiate somehow.
Yeah, this is a stupid plan.
So can I I'm gonna interject here because I just thought of this.
Please.
We do just one-off episode of Star Trek with Jason Statham. Okay. Keep up with me.
Okay.
And it's just like Crank. It takes place in one day, and it starts off like this.
My name is Jeff Chelios, and today is the day that I die.
Boom, and then we backtrack and we start from the beginning. It's a beautiful fucking episode. Oh, I'm Jeff Chelios.
Captain Jeff. Is he a captain?
Yeah, he's a captain. He's a captain.
Okay, he's a captain. Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a twist. Is that when he says that in the beginning of the movie, and then the shot is he's wearing like the captain's uniform, but when we flash back, he's just one of those dudes in the background, and you
he's
realize
just like an ensign. Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, he had to fight everybody and fucking became the captain, dude.
The intrigue.
Yeah, dude.
What if it's like,
okay,
it's Jason Statham on a starship, but it turns out to be like Die Hard, where he has to save the day.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there you go.
And because of the death,
he starts as an ensign.
Yeah. People start dying, and he has to take control. He's like, I'm now acting captain.
This is basically the plot of the Star Trek VCR video board game, where a bunch of nobodies have to come together to gather all the isolinear chips to retake the bridge.
But these are nobodies. They're somebody, and his name's Chev Chelios.
Transporter's log.
Yeah. Transporter's log.
Oh, that's his job on the ship.
Yeah, he's the transporter.
He works in the transporter room.
Yeah.
He's the Miles
the most
O'Brien.
obvious fucking thing, and we didn't start there. What the hell?
He's just working a shift in the transporter room.
He's like, oh,
boy, O'Brien, I'll take it from here.
Yeah. And then O'Brien's like, hey, how was your night? I know you like to bare knuckle box at night. He's like, yeah, well, ain't no tickle fight.
In traditional British fashion.
Yeah.
What kind of
they'll always talk about it.
God damn it, dude! Listen, this dude. The people are very upset. They're like, you took something you liked, which was Jason Statham, and you fucked it, dude. You fucking assholes.
They're also angry that they didn't come up with it first.
Yeah, Marvin, you never told us what your rating was.
I'll give it like a 9. I actually ended up really liking the episode. Yeah. I think in terms of all of the technical aspects, this is what a Star Trek episode should be. Like even from the storytelling to like, it looks really great. It's actually thrilling. There's like some like questions you ask about like the nature of the holodeck, what's real, and also like even the side characters have some things like Data feels guilty, like, you know.
Yeah, just like we got Data trying to be a human. We got a weird fixation on the 20th century. We got
we see some world building. Like I love the idea that there's this super violent sport called Parisi Squares that everyone just plays for fun.
But you only need to armor up one shoulder.
Dude, my second episode. Jeff Chelios is made in the fucking holodeck.
Oh,
and he comes out of the holodeck.
Oh, that's how they get him to come back for a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I was killed in a bare knuckle boxing match, but I'm back.
He punches his way out of. No, he does that transporter kick from the trailer through the holodeck door.
Yeah,
and the holodeck door just fucking slides down.
And they're like, he can't do that. He's not allowed to. He can't get out of there. And
he's like, "Watch fuck me. You can't tell."
But then because it's like a Cranks thing, so he needs to like find sources of energy to maintain his holodeck. Hollow figure.
Yeah. Eventually, he hooks himself up to the core, to the warp core.
Yeah. He just licks it. He puts it in his mouth. And he drugs himself with it.
And then there's a third episode.
He starts like a warp core meltdown because he had to like.
I'm envisioning another episode where the holodeck creates like an evil Jason Statham, but it's just still Jason Statham.
It's just him again. Yes. Oh boy.
Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I know I
did. Thanks for listening to Newbie Star Trek, everybody. That was our I guess we sort of watched and reviewed.
Yeah.
11001001. The next episode's going to be too short a season. I don't remember very much about this episode, so that'll be new to me. So that'll be great. In the meantime, if you want to catch more episodes of Newbie Star Trek, you can find it at newbiestartrek.com. That's NEWBIE StarTrek.com, or wherever you can find your podcasts, where some Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict,
Podbeans,
Podbean,
Apple Pods, AirPod,
Google
Pros.
Podcasts.
We should check if Newbie Statham is taken as a domain.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tempt me. We're looking at that after the podcast. All right.
Yeah. By the time this airs, we'll have already bought it.
We'll just introduce our next episode. Like, hi everyone, welcome to Newbie Statham.
Yes. If you want more episodes of Newbie Statham, go to newbiestatham.com.
Also, we have another podcast, the Fugitive Frames Film Podcast, which is where we discuss movies. We usually list them out based on a topic. The topic can be like video games or Christmas or a year or just some whatever random shit our guest wants to talk about, or director retrospectives, etc. Yeah, that you can find that at fugitiveframes.com. Also, wherever you can find podcasts. And on top of that,
you like video games?
Yeah, video games. The four of us. Because there's Marcel, but he's not in the podcast, this one. But we have a channel called Fugitive Games. See, it rhymes at frames. So Fugitive Games. YouTube. It's on YouTube. We do Let's Plays. We're starting to stream now. So that'll be fun too. The last stream we will have finished by the time this episode comes out will have been Splatoon 2's Hero Mode, which is its single player campaign, which Dan never finished, so he thought like, this would be great.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick it up off the floor, dust it off, and see how far I can get and however long I feel like I can play.
Because not that much happened in that first few like things you played, right? You said like it was.
Well, yeah, it's like they give you the layout of. I'll be able to explain what's occurred up until that point.
Okay,
I'm sure.
Okay. Well, I will have never seen it. And I know very little about Splatoon, so you'll have to kind of guide my hips through whatever's going on.
Yeah,
basically, it's just a big fight for control of the power source of the universe.
No spoilers, dude.
No splat spoilers.
There are full-on race wars occurring in Splatoon at all times.
Oh yeah. It turns out this is something that's been told to me by Dan. Splatoon is basically like an allegory for racism.
Lots of race wars. Like salmon are at the very bottom.
Oh, is that why they call them salmon runs? And that's why that's horde mode?
Yeah, the horde mode, like you take down salmonids, right? And like you're stealing their eggs for the good of a corporation that hires you for gigs.
That's fucked up. What a horrible world.
Yeah. It's pretty messed up.
This is a horrible... And you have to participate in it as a squid kid.
Well, you don't have to. It's just a gig for extra cash to fund your high-end fashion.
God, what a commentary on our capitalist culture.
Yep, that's where we at.
Splatoon 2, everyone. Also, we were doing some other shit. We're still going to Phoenix Wright. It's been a lot of fun voice acting that. We're still going through A Hat in Time, and we're starting to do more quick plays again because quick plays are fun. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just came out. And, we'll see some other stuff. Also, this is the last time I'm going to plug this for a while. The movie I made, A Night's Tour, on the day this podcast has released, this episode.
If you happen to be listening to it, like right the hell away.
Yeah, if you happen to listen to it on the day of the podcast, it's going to be streaming for free online at Kings of Horror, the YouTube channel, Kings of Horror. And it's going to be streaming at January 5th, which is a Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
That's 9 o'clock Eastern.
It's going to be a live premiere, which means I'm going to be in the chat. I think Sarah's going to be in the chat. Sarah's produced the movie as well. And I'm hoping to get our actors on board too, but I'm not 100% sure what their schedule is like yet. But in any case, we're going to be in the chat, chatting live, trying to assure people that yes, it's not a horror film, but please keep watching.
Yeah, there's going to be a bit of that to begin with, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it'll be fine. I mean, like it's just part of the territory when you're making indie movies. Like if it's close enough, they'll just put it in that genre, and they're like, sure.
Yeah.
So that's that'll be premiering on Kings of Horror on Tuesday, January 5th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. A Night's Tour. I hope to see you there. I hope you like the movie. It took like 6 years to make.
Yeah, if you like The Queen's Gambit, this movie also has a chess piece in it.
It has some chess.
Yes, in fact.
Yes. Anyway, that was the podcast. Next episode is going to be Too Short a Season, which I think will be new to all of us because I don't remember it. Ricardo hasn't seen it.
I've actually seen it, like rewatched it recently.
Oh my god, cheater!
So now Dan is the expert Star Trek.
Yeah, I'm the expert for a few days.
Okay, excellent. So this has been Newbie Star Trek, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed. Have a great night. We'll see you again next time.
Good night, everybody.
Would he even have would he tell people good night or he just kill them?
He'd tell you good night as he shanks you.
Oh, okay.